Hey everyone, it's Gabrielle again, and today we are talking to Kendall Altmyer, who is the founder of The Penny Story. And by the end of this interview, you are going to learn so much about what one person can do with an inspirational feeling, with just a couple of resources, and with the will and the way to know that if they have something in their heart, that there's a way to make it work. So Kendall, thanks so much for joining us.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So I would love to have you share, what is the Penny Story and how did you come up with the idea for selling penny bracelets?
Okay, the penny story in a nutshell. Pennies in our society, they're worthless, they're cheap. We don't notice them even laying on the ground. And if they are in a parking lot, we usually don't pick them up because they're pretty worthless. And I see those pennies as comparable to victims of human trafficking. The crime is in almost every country around the world, but we can't even see it. It's in our society, it's in every state that we're in, but we cannot see it in front of our eyes because it has become so invisible in our society. So when I heard that metaphor of the penny, I thought if someone could give this penny a voice, it would change everything in the world of trafficking. Because once you hear the story, you cannot see a penny the same again. So after working with girls rescued out of sex trafficking in Eastern Europe, I was living and working with them for 3 months. I fell in love with them, and I knew I had to do something about trafficking. I couldn't move back to Florida and just assimilate back into my normal life and not think about those girls and try to do something to change their life. So we started making a penny bracelet. We would stamp "worthy" into the bottom of pennies. Right under a Lincoln, we'd stamp "worthy" in all capital letters, make a bracelet out of it, and then sell it and give the money back to the organization that I worked for in Greece. And since then, those penny bracelets have traveled throughout America, Europe, Australia, Southern America. We see penny bracelets all over Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And it's just neat to see how the passion of one person's story can take a movement and spread it all around to make a difference in a worldwide injustice.
So what was it about human trafficking that really caused you to think, I can do something about this? This is a huge injustice, but I want to help.
That's a great question. I see there's 27 million victims, and I see it more as there are not 27 million victims, there are 27 million people with souls. And I think that helped me. I was able to understand that when I lived with the girls over in Greece. And so they became girls to me. They had names, they had families, they had faces. And I realized you aren't just one of 27 million. You are Katie, and I love you to death, and I love spending time with you. And if I can change Katie's world, Katie moves back to her home. She changes her world at home because she comes back a completely different person after being under the care of age 21. Age 21 is just something else. And she goes back and changes her world because she has changed. She's been rescued out of an injustice that only 1% of victims are ever rescued. She defied the odds. She lived through it, and she became victorious over it. Yes, she will have scars, and yes, her life will look different than people who didn't experience what she had to experience, but she overcame it, and she's stronger because of it. So she moves home and changes the world around her. And so I can impact one girl's life who can then go on to impact one girl and another girl. And it's so much more than just impacting one girl. It's multiples. It's a ripple effect. So I don't even see it as numbers. I see it as souls and people. And if I can change the life of one person, then it's totally worth it.
So you got this idea when you were an intern in Greece. You came back to the States, and did you ever think, who am I? How am I ever going to make an impact on something this huge?
Yes. I was an intern. I was an intern who I felt very underqualified. I actually got denied to the internship originally. They have hundreds of applications from countries throughout the entire world, and they take 4 interns. I got denied originally, which makes sense. I think I should have been denied, but God had different plans for that, and I ended up being accepted a couple of weeks after I was denied. I got to Greece and realized I know exactly why I was denied. I don't bring anything to the table. Like the girls that were other interns with me, one of them had started an anti-trafficking organization, had raised $100,000 in 10 months. One taught English as a second language, was certified in it, and our girls loved learning English. One was a dance therapy teacher. They love dancing. And so they were like, Kendall, what do you bring to the table? And I thought, oh my goodness, I know exactly why y'all denied me. I don't bring anything to the table of this caliber. I just graduated college and I don't have these kind of skills that these girls have. I was 22. These girls were like 28. And I thought, I know exactly why I was denied. But it turned out that I love this. I always thought this was so superficial and surface. I love doing hair and makeup, and I'm so girly. And the girls loved my big hair and makeup. And so I would sit down with them in front of mirrors, tease their hair, put makeup on their face, and they would be mesmerized by what they saw in the mirror. They would smile. They would want to take pictures. They couldn't stop looking at themselves. And I am confident they have never felt that beautiful ever, especially in their trafficking situations where all they're wanted is for sex and abuse. They do not look in a mirror and feel beautiful. So I was able to place this love and value on these girls by something I thought was superficial and lifeless, like doing hair and makeup. And I placed the utmost value on those girls in that way. And so when I came back to America, and the girls are left in Greece, I can't contact them anymore because of security reasons. And here I am in America feeling the exact same way. I'm only 22. Actually, I was 23 when I came back. I'm only 23. I don't have skills. I don't have knowledge. I love hair and makeup, and I don't have a lot going for me in that sense. And so I'm still, to this day, that thought constantly comes in my head, and I just choose not to believe it. I choose to believe that as a millennial entrepreneur, we pursue what we are passionate about and what our heart says is right. And me choosing that over and over and over again every single day the past 3 years has expanded the penny to what it is. So it's, for much as it does not make sense to take a random girl from a random town in Alabama and give her a platform and try to change the world of trafficking, God just works in funny ways to make things that don't make sense actually make a difference in the world.
Well, one of the things that doesn't make sense is just how quickly it's expanded and how you have just gotten so many people around you, people you didn't even ask. Mm-hmm. It's not like you went and you pitched, someone like on Shark Tank and said, hey, here's a great idea. It just happened so organically. How have you been able to find partners, like strategic partners, to come alongside you and help spread your message? Because you're in grad school right now. I mean, you're not even doing this full time.
That is so true. That's a great question. That is something, the partnerships is something that I have not strategically pursued. And I am a Christian, very much so. And I can only credit all of this to the Lord. I'm honestly nothing without him. And I think he knows that. And that's why he's been able to take me and actually do something. But I would pray. The first prayer was, God, give the penny a voice. I just want her to have a voice. If someone would speak for the penny and give it attention, it would change the world of trafficking. I know it would. And so Carrie Job, the singer-songwriter, she's a well-known singer-songwriter in the Christian industry. She contacted me within a month of the first penny bracelet ever being made. And she said, I want to sell your penny bracelets. I want to carry them on the road. I want them in my shows. I want them on my merchandise table in our online store. And I thought, this is crazy. Like, she just literally fell into my lap out of nowhere. I know her mother, and her mother knew about the penny, and Carrie overheard her mom talking about the penny and then said, what's this penny about? I want to be involved in it. I've been praying for a way to join the fight against trafficking with my platform. So there was that. And I was like, okay, God, you're starting to give this penny a really big voice. And my second prayer was, God, I want the penny in the athletic industry. Trafficking is a huge problem in the athletic world. At our sporting events all across America, they bring in girls because the men are off work. They're usually without their families. There's a lot of drinking and there's a lot of money. And so that is a perfect storm for trafficked girls to come into and the men to enjoy their time at the event. So I want the penny in the athletic world. And out of nowhere, about a month ago, I got a call from Tampa Bay Lightning, who's a big hockey team. I don't even know anything about hockey. Never watched a hockey game in my life. And Tampa Bay Lightning, who's an amazing hockey team, called, and they are giving the penny one of their games. The whole game's going to be about the penny. The ticket sales are going back to the penny story. And that all came from just a girl on their staff came across the penny story, fell in love with it and said, I want to do something, like I want my job, my day in and day out job to make a difference in the world. And maybe if we can partner with the Penny story, then we can make a difference. So I've been praying for a year, I want this Penny in the athletic world. And this girl's over here going, I want to make a difference in what I do every day. So she just called me out of nowhere and said, hey, can we try to make this work? And I said, absolutely, we can make this work. So things like that, that's nothing but answered prayer. And then one more thing I really have to credit it to is Southeastern University, where I work. I currently attend grad school at Southeastern University, and I also work there part-time. They have totally gotten behind the Penny and just rallied me on. They are my mentors, my leaders. They have developed me, so to speak, as a leader and as a young woman. And now they are behind me and under me, just helping me, saying, we will do whatever you need and we will help in whatever way you can. So to have their backing behind me, under me, and all around me has made taking risk and feeling like I have no idea what I am doing be a little more comfortable, because I know, well, these people believe in me and they're there to help me. So
mentorship is so important. I mean, if you don't have a mentor, then you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of times when you're starting out on your own, you don't know where the pitfalls are. You don't know where to go to. You don't even know what questions to ask. And it can seem so incredibly intimidating. Another thing that we were talking about before we started recording was the role of social media, and how you wouldn't be where you're at today if there wasn't the hashtags, the Instagrams, the really organic traffic that's come to your site through social media. Maybe you want to share a little bit about what you guys have been able to see and even do, even on accident, to get the Penny story out there.
Absolutely. It was accidental, the first part of the social media coming about. Right when I flew to Greece to start the internship, I posted one last post, and the very bottom of it, I hashtagged "She is worth the fight." And that came out of preparing to move to Greece. I thought my job in Greece is to place love and value on the girls. And I thought, well, I don't know how to do that, but I know the Lord knows how to do that. So I could only figure to best prepare to move to Greece was to become more like Jesus. And so I made 30 minutes a day the summer before Greece, praying for the girls in Greece and praying for A21. And there was one day I sat down to do my 30 minutes of prayer for these girls, and I didn't want to. I was tired. I was hungry. I was working 2 jobs, and the last thing I wanted to do was pray for a country I'd never been to people I'd never met, to an organization I had never worked for. And I was just complaining about it, honestly. And then I thought that the next sentence in my prayer journal was, she is captive, I am free. She has zero hope. I literally have eternal hope. She has no way to freedom. I have eternal freedom in my fingertips, and she has nothing. And then I said, she is a daughter and I am a daughter. And then the very last thing I wrote is, she is worth the fight. She is worth the fight of my really, really petty concerns of being hungry, tired, and frustrated, to be set aside and just intercede for her spiritually. And so I sat there and prayed my normal 30 minutes and went about my day. Never thought twice about that prayer until I flew to Greece and hashtagged "She is worth the fight" from the prayer. I put it on that post, and somehow that post, every time I posted about Greece, people would repost, and that hashtag "She is worth the fight" would go with it. So when we started selling penny bracelets, we would hashtag "She is worth the fight" on the post about the penny bracelet. So that post has just, not the post, the hashtag has expanded, and now anytime someone buys a penny bracelet, there's usually "She is worth the fight" hashtag. So I'll check social media regularly and go to "She is worth the fight," or they started hashtagging the Penny story, and just see new girls and guys wear the penny bracelet now all around buying their penny bracelet. They're so excited because their penny bracelet came in the mail, and they'll hashtag "She is worth the fight." So it's neat to be able to network like that and see. I connect with the people who post that. I'll write them and tell them, thank you for believing in the penny. Thank you for supporting the penny, because it's truly, they are the reason the penny is expanding, because they're falling in love with the penny story. They're the true penny supporters and penny lovers. So I can connect with them through social media and say, hey, thank you. This means the world to me that you have fallen in love with the penny and choose to support it. And you're joining the fight against trafficking by doing that. So it's been a big connection tool for me.
So this is something that you kind of fell into. It was really more of a calling than even a business idea. what has been the most challenging thing for you in getting the Penny story up and going?
It's a great question. The most challenging thing is the tension of where I am currently. I'm in graduate school and I finish in 4 months. And so I'm 25 years old. I'm on the brink of life, of starting life. And the tension is I want to take this Penny story and expand it. I want it to continue to grow. There is so much momentum behind it, and I'm ready to chase the heck out of this momentum. But I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. I don't feel qualified to do it. I've never, in my 6 years of education, I've not taken one business class. Not one. I don't know anything about business. And so the hardest thing for me right now is I feel like the past 3 years, the Penny story has kind of fallen into my lap, and I've gone, okay, this is cool. But now it's like, okay, well, here's my time. I'm done finishing school, turning 25, starting life, so to say. It is time to take this by the horns and just run with it. But do I do that and not accept a full-time job after college and put all of my hope, dreams, energy, and money into trying to further launch the Penny story? Or do I say, oh, I think I'll take a full-time job and then try to make the Penny run on the side of my full-time job? So that's the hardest thing for me right now, is feeling extremely underqualified, but knowing this Penny can change the world of women all around the world. And I know it can do that. And it's hard and it's frustrating to think I have no qualifications to do this and I don't know what to do. And the timing is getting so much closer. My graduation date is coming. My contract with Carrie is ending soon. And it's like, okay, there's no more just sitting around and waiting for things to happen. I have to run and make this happen. And I don't really know what I'm doing right now.
I think that is kind of that brink and even that breaking point of becoming an entrepreneur is, I remember before I left my job and I started my own company, there was this sense of, what if it doesn't work out? Or am I going to be able to make rent? There were all of those things that, I mean, in reality, that's what you need to really live and survive in our society. But I knew that no one could do what I could do. And there was almost this injustice and anger when I saw someone doing what I was supposed to be doing, like, no, well, they're not doing it right. Or no, I should do it better. Or no, I'm supposed to do that. And I remember I was complaining about it one time to my mother, and she's like, stop getting angry about it and start doing something. There's a reason that there's almost this sense of injustice inside of you, because you know that you're supposed to do it. And I got frustrated working my full-time job and then having to do my passion on the side, when I was like, I was created to do this. And I had no idea how I was going to work it out. I mean, I was passionate about millennials. Try and find a job where you get to talk about millennials. I'm like, I don't know, that's so weird. But I made it. Like, I literally made an entire career out of it. And I just want to encourage you, because I definitely see that in you, as, you know, putting off something that you were created to do something traditional, when
yes,
I really feel like our generation has a sense of urgency of making a difference. Like, we don't have time. And people who are older look at us and say, slow down, you've got your whole life ahead of you. Well, yeah, I know that I do, but why not make the most of it right now rather than having to wait 10 years?
Absolutely. That's exactly how I feel. You just put everything I feel into words.
And it's hard, and it's a journey though, and you learn so much about you, and about yourself, and about what you want and what you don't want, but you're never going to look back and regret the risks that you took. You're going to regret the risks that you didn't take and say, well, I wish that I would have jumped sooner. Like, that's usually what I hear from a lot of people who do finally leave their job and start out, they're like, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, that's true. And that's where I stand right now. With the university where I'm currently in grad school and working has offered me a full-time job. And I love what I do at the university. I get to work with college-age students and with college girls and counsel them. And the Penny is part of my life at my job. And so there is that huge question, like, okay, well, do I take this and just figure out what happens with the Penny? Or do I just say, no, I'm not going to do this, and I'm going to pour everything into the Penny? So the next 5 months, the next 5 to 6 months will be very telling of my next few steps for where my life is headed.
I know that you had said that you've never taken a business class and you never really thought of yourself as an entrepreneur. But as you're kind of moving towards well, you've already started this movement. You shared before that you're not even a 501c3. What has that kind of learning curve been like for you to enter into this world where you're like, I just wanted to make a difference. I just want to save people from human trafficking. And now there's all this bureaucracy and processes. And how are you adjusting to all of that?
Yes. Honestly, that was hard at first. I was so underestimated and overlooked and thought, I think people probably laughed at me. There's one time in particular, I had to have lawyers in this penny stuff. We've had 2 different lawyers. And the first one, I had to go to his office for a meeting. And the receptionist, I walked up to the lawyer's office and I thought, what am I doing here? Like I wanted the penny to have a voice. I wanted this movement to start, and I see it starting, but it's become to a place where legal help is needed. And what do? Like look up a lawyer in the phone book? Like I don't know what I'm doing. And so
Just Google lawyer.
I Google penny bracelet lawyer, jewelry lawyer. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so that's where the university has helped me a lot. They said, we'll help you get a lawyer. But I went to this meeting with the lawyer, and I walk in, and the building's beautiful and immaculate and huge, and I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, this is a joke. And I walked up to the receptionist desk and I said, I'm here for Will Harrell. And she said, what is your name? And I said, I'm Kendall Altmyer. And she literally looks at me above her little like pointy-eyed glasses, and she goes, you're Kendall? And I said, yes, ma'am, I'm Kendall. And she just kind of looked at me and she goes, you can have a seat over there. And I sat down and I thought, that was the strangest interaction. Like I immediately felt like not degraded, but it's tiny. Like she just looked at me like, you're kidding right now. Like you're Kendall. And I just said, yes, ma'am, I'm Kendall. Like, I don't know what else to do or say. And so those moments became very frequent where I'm in business conversations with this company in Texas that wants to take over the selling rights of the penny, and they're in business suits and ties. And I'm a 23-year-old sitting there going, oh God, help me answer the question that's about to come out of his mouth. And many times I've had to say, I honestly don't really understand what is going on right now, but I'm going to understand. I just need help in you telling me what the heck you're asking me right now, because I don't understand. And so I was looked upon like, oh, you're like this 22-year-old, like, bless your heart, you want to change the world. You have so many dreams, and let's try to help you. And that would get me down frequently, that the businessmen and the lawyers and just because sometimes people who wanted to connect would see me, talk to me, and they would think, oh, this is Kendall. And that would hurt. And I thought, I'm so underestimated. But I've come to accept that now, that my youth, being only 25 and starting a movement, and my sweetness and friendliness and being naive in the business world, it has come to be in my favor. I've had to learn a lot. It's been a hard journey. I haven't felt the most confident at times, but I have learned so much in the journey, and I honestly wouldn't have do it any other way. I could go back and do it the traditional business way. I wouldn't do that. I've learned a great deal that I don't think I would have learned had I done it the normal way, whatever the normal way is.
What role would you say that failure has played in your story? What kind of relationship do you have with failure? Do you embrace it? Do you run from it? Or is it something that you've come to terms with?
It is something I come to terms with over a journey of me being able to say it is something I've come to terms with. Failure at first was paralyzing, and I thought, I can't do this. If I failed at something, if we take it back to Greece, when I lived in Greece with the girls, and the first 3 weeks were me failing at what I went over there to do. It really was. And I thought, I should not be here. Like, how can I get home? Where is the plane ticket home? And so it would paralyze me. The negative thoughts were completely just paralyzing. And now I've come to realize failure is 100% an opportunity to learn and grow. And growth hurts, but I'm okay with that kind of hurt and pain. And so now failure, I see, okay, well, I did the absolute best that I could. It didn't go as how I thought it would. I'm going to do it better next time. And I pick my feet right back up, learn and grow with the help of mentorship. Honestly, failure has become something that I can healthily look at because of mentorship in my life.
I love that. I could not agree more.
Yeah.
All right, so we have reached the end of our interview, but we still have time for our lightning round of questions. So if you're ready, I'm going to start asking you. All right, first question is, what do you know now that you wish that you knew back then when we were first starting with the Penny Story?
I wish I had known that there isn't a normal way to do things, that not to let myself be paralyzed and slowed down by the thought of, well, I can't do that. That's not how it's supposed to be. I can't go to this meeting. I'm not supposed to be in these kind of meetings. I wish I could have told myself there isn't a normal way. There isn't a prescribed way. Just take the opportunity that comes onto your doorstep. You do the best you can with what's presented to you. Be confident. Study, learn, research what you don't know, and keep walking forward.
That's a fantastic answer, and I could not agree more. What is the best piece of business advice that you have ever received?
That failure is okay, that you have to be able to healthily look at failure and be able to say, just because this one thing failed doesn't mean that I have failed and that the Penny Story is now going to fail. You pick yourself back up and you keep walking.
I think that that's a really profound point as well, is separating yourself from the failure. Just because there's a moment of failure, that does not ascribe your worth to failure. And not taking things personally. I know that it's so easy that people will just kind of say, well, it's not personal, it's business. Well, when your business is so personal, it gets really personal really fast.
Absolutely.
So it's learning how do you balance the moment with, what overall movement that you're trying to achieve. Next question is, what books are you reading right now? I know that you're in grad school, so you're probably not reading a whole lot other than your grad school counseling books. But what books have really helped you get to where you're at now?
The Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster. It is an incredible book, obviously not business minded, but I believe the disciplines that I've developed in my life are what have gotten the Penny Story to where it is today. I'm fully confident in saying that. And so I read this book every couple of years because each time I read it, I feel like I'm reading it for the first time. But I have learned that the keys to success are actually the most simple things in life: to live a simple life, eat healthy, take care of your body. We have one body and one mind. And if we don't treat it like gold, then we are not going to be able to do anything effective with it. And so I am currently rereading Celebration of Discipline to see how new disciplines can come about in 2016.
I love it. I love those books. And I haven't read that one yet, so I'll definitely add it to my list of books to read. Okay, last question. And it is my favorite question to ask. So, Kendall, if the 12-year-old version of you were to meet you now, what would she think about what you're doing with the Penny Story?
She would think, you are awesome. I knew you could do this. She really would. She would probably ask me, why are you single? I had a boyfriend from probably 8 years old till throughout college. And so now where it's like 25, yes, I should totally be in a relationship. I should totally be married. 12-year-old Kendall would go, you're doing awesome. I knew you had the potential to do this, but how did you end up single doing this? So yeah, 12-year-old Kendall would be proud and a little bit confused.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the middle school version of me was much more popular with guys than the college and even after college version of me.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. Well, Kendall, can you flash your penny bracelet for us really fast?
Yes, absolutely. There we go. Can you see where?
Worthy.
Yes. Yep.
So
we love it. We
go out there and get their own version. So what is the website that they can buy the penny bracelet at?
thepennystory.com.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Kendall, thank you so much for spending time with us, telling us your story and telling us the story of the penny as well. Thanks.
Thank you for having me.